I think it's fair to say the war in Iran affecting Strait of Hormuz is impacting everybody around the world financially, but here's the one question that no one's talking about. So this is one choke point that we have in the world, Strait of Hormuz. And people are like, you probably on a day-to-day stuff, you weren't thinking about how much power Iran had to say, I'm not going to let anybody else in. You guys are locked in. We have mines. Everyone learned about Karg Island and how powerful it is and how much control Iran has. Well, wait a minute. I didn't know they were this strong. Well, if that's the case, what are the other choke points in the world that if all of a sudden China's like, you want to put this much pain on me that I'm being cornered with oil prices? Wait a minute, let me tell you what I can do to you and the rest of the world with Taiwan and the 90% of semiconductors that's coming there. If they do that, there's one strait nobody is talking about. It's so important, and China privately doesn't want you to know about this one strait that will impact them in a massive way. $3.5 trillion a year moves through this place. We're going to talk about that place. And an idea that Israel came up with in the 60s amongst each other became public in 1994 that could be a direct competitor to Suez Canal. We're going to talk about all of that stuff today.
It's a pretty loaded list right there. I hope y'all are ready to learn, because this is going to be an informational one as an direct mentee of this great person right here, PBD, Patrick McDavid. On Valuetainment, we have a great video that's going over the current chokehold crisis that is going on in Hormuz. I'm not too familiar with this topic, if I'm going to be honest with you all. So I'm going to just be learning as much as you are. So let's not take too much time talking. Let's dive straight in.
All right, so contrary to popular belief on X, I've been doing board videos since 2013. I've been doing these for a long time, and if you're watching and saying, Pat, I love the board videos you do, I have a favor to ask you. 51% of you watch our content, you've never subscribed to the channel, but you watch it every single week. If you're one of them and you like what we do, you want to help us out, we're at 7 million subs. I'd like to get to 10 million subs. Click on that subscribe button. It helps us out with our algorithms and grows our audience. Thank you for doing that. Just click on that subscribe button right there. Having said that, let's get right into another board video here. So, Strait of Hormuz, okay, Persian Gulf, Gulf of Oman, 21 million barrels a day goes through Strait of Hormuz. We're seeing the pain for everybody. Gas prices this morning, I'm talking to Rob, on the podcast. He says, Pat, gas prices 2 weeks ago, he's paying $2.75. This morning, $3.99. If you're watching this, your gas prices have probably gone up 50 cents to $1.20 per gallon. Whatever part of the country you live in, you're feeling it.
Man, before he goes to the next part, them gas prices, we talk about it every time and we're never going to skip over it, because if I have to see another $4.79, $4.89 for regular gas, that's ridiculous. What are we talking about? What are genuinely, like, that's absurd. But as in the last video we reacted to, it ain't gonna get much better.
Right now, why is that? 20 to 25% of all seaborne oil trade, 20% of global LNG goes through the Strait of Hormuz, primarily oil from Saudi, UAE, or Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and a big chunk of the oil that China relies on comes from here. So they felt the pain in a massive way. So what does Iran do with Operation Epic Fury that started on February 28th? Iran closed the strait March 2nd. Now, they've done that to 21 different merchant ships. Obviously, we've destroyed their navy. We've killed 50 of their leaders. Supreme leader, we just killed their chief intelligence officer. So this is not a good situation. But if you go right now to find out if Strait of Hormuz is open or closed, it'll say restricted. Why? We'll get to that here in a minute as well. Keep in mind, a lot of people think Strait of Hormuz, it's 21 miles wide. If it's 21 miles wide, you have to be able to get a bunch of ships that go through at the same time, right? Nope, only two. Only two? Only two. Why? It's not, if you think it's a deep place and you can have 50 ships going through, that's not the case. So economical implications, largest oil supply disruption ever. Brent crude went from 100 to 126.
Wow, supply and demand, y'all, supply and demand. there's no space. And ain't enough space for them ships. So it's only 2 of them. It's not going to be any oil getting moved.
Omani crude 150. I think the record is 145. I don't know if we're going to hit it or not. Some massive thing needs to happen to hit the record. Oil prices could hit 200 if this continues. Some people say it's a little bit of fear porn, but it's also reality. If all of a sudden Chad Islands hit and Iran just says forget about it and a couple ships are truly hit in a massive way, you can see that every day this thing stays. If it stays closed for 3 weeks, we're dealing with a $200. It's never happened before. Could get to that point. U.S. gas prices up nearly $5 in California. Global oil crisis losing 8 million barrels a day. That's that part. Now, in the logistical problem side, limited mobility. We talked about that. U.S. military resources, 7 to 8 destroyers for just 3 to 4 tankers. China, India, non-Western countries still allowed in the area. So Iran said, look, if you're China, you're India, your partner, go through. If you're friends with the Western side, you cannot come through this year. There's a price for it. And if you notice NATO storm, Kier from UK, and I don't know if we're with them, President Trump comes out, I need you guys to be on ours. Oh, we can't. We want to kind of have a place because we got to get through. So it's an interesting thing that's going on right now. Who's going to be siding with them? Who's not? And this leads to the secondary consequences, which is port congestion, longer shipping times, delays on sulfur and aluminum, crops, semiconductors, worldwide inflation, shipping, insurance costs. Anyways, there's a bunch of things that can happen here, but that's one of the world's choke points. No one's talking about the other places. Let's talk about the other places. Here's where the main global choke points are. When you look at this, you see obviously Panama Canal, Suez Canal, you'll see the Turkish Strait, you'll see all these other places, but I'm going to emphasize a couple of these here. Number one, Suez Canal. 12% of global trade goes through there, 30% of container traffic, $4.2 to $5.7 billion in transit fees for Egypt. So that means in this area, who has a lot of control? Egypt. This is why Egypt's also got its own power. They influence what happens in Suez Canal. So everybody's like, look, Egypt, just kind of be good. And Egypt's like, look, you guys are giving us a lot of money. It's good revenue. Let's just kind of, freedom, peace, and prosperity. Let's do that together, right? Egypt. So that's that part. So risk, Houthis, blockages. This has happened before. Houthis sees this and said, hey, we're going to get them all scared the crap out of everybody. We've seen that happen before. The other block, the other choke point is the Panama Canal, 13,404 transits, $5.7 billion in 2025. Risk, drought. When there is a drought, there's water that they need coming in from lake. Like there was an issue a couple of years ago with rain, El Nino. Didn't really happen. It was massively problematic. They couldn't get as many ships to be going out as they did before. The number, I think, got all the way down to 22 to 24. They'll generally do a number that's a higher number. I think the number is 36, give or take. So that was a problem. So this right here, Panama Canal, the fact that Panama Supreme Court came and took it back from China, C.K. Hutchinson said you don't have that much control over it, specifically the 2 areas. That's massive. Now, of course, CKs can come back and ask for money. China's probably not happy about that. This was one of the choke points I was very concerned about. If China could have a lot of control over, this is a good thing. Now watch the next one, Taiwan. Here's a concern with Taiwan. At any given time, this is a picture from May 26th of 2024. This is Taiwan. This is mainland China. Blue ships, that's Taiwan, that's US, Japan, US, Taiwan, all the blue. Everything you see with red is China. They all need to protect this place. China says this is ours. Now, if China decides to go scorched earth and say, you know what, here's what we're going to go after Taiwan and we're going to do all this stuff to hurt you guys with the ships. There's one area no one's talking about, the Strait of Malacca. And here's why this is important. 94,000 ships annually goes through here. You don't hear a lot of talks about Strait of Malacca. 25% of all goods, we're talking about $3.5 trillion of trade value that's moving through this place.
94,000 ships, 25% of all goods, $3.5 trillion of trade value. I don't think some of us understand how large of a scope something like that holds on the entire economic system.
We don't talk about a lot, but this is a massive risk for China. Why? That's 80% of oil imports. So let's take a look at this. When you look at this map, okay, this is China mainland. This is the Strait of Malacca. Okay, you may say, what's the big deal? For them to go through They have to go through here. This is Indonesia. By the way, it's interesting because Indonesia, you see how big it is and how much of the size they have. It's, I think, like 650 to 700 kilometers. Even though it's that much, they're only making $3 billion a year off the Strait of Malacca. They don't charge any tax, nothing like that. Malaysia, right on this side, they have 650 kilometers that comes through right there. They make $7 billion a year. See Singapore, how small it is? That small little place, it's only 24 kilometers. They make the most money, $15 billion every year from the Strait of Malacca. Why? Services, people stop by, get their things scored away. There's so many different great experiences and services there. So they make that money for themselves. But the point here is the fact that if anything happens here, like the Strait of Hormuz, they put a stop to that, China's gonna feel it. Now, of course, they have alternatives, but they don't want anybody to be messing with the Strait of Malacca. Now, last but not least,
this all makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't want to lose your largest importer of oil. Look at what it says. China's big weakness in negative 80% of oil import. Do you understand what that looks like? I don't think you do. Imagine if I told you today that 80% of the water in your state, in your country, was going to be gone. Now would you take it a little more serious? Well, for our world, for the way we do things, everything we use, it takes a lot of oil and natural gas.
Told you at the end that Israel's sitting there saying, look, you know, our concern is with the Strait of Hormuz, all the way on the other side, it's like 193 kilometers. When you look at this one here, Israel back in the 60s came up with an idea that they internally talked about, became public in the 1990s, I think 94, and they said, look, if we have to use Suez Canal, what if all of a sudden one day they say, Egypt says, hey, Israel, you better or else, guys, we got to think about ourselves long term. What if we do that? And they suggested the Ben Gurion Canal. And you know, if you hear strait, it's God-made, it's natural. Canal, it's man-made. They said we should build a canal, calling it the Ben Gurion Canal, 250 to 300 kilometers. Some say a part of the Gaza war that took place is to open it up to build the canal there. And the ideas are pretty outlandish ideas. To build this, they need 300,000 men to help them out. $55 billion budget, I believe, to build this property out. And again, this was an idea that came about a long time that was discussed, proposed in the 60s, named first for their first prime minister. To be able to build this, they have to dig the place, bunch of nuclear bombs, blow the whole place up to open it up. And, you know, alternative to Suez, West-friendly government, 2 ships at a time that they could pull off. And this is what they're proposing. Nothing's happened yet. People are saying this is something that we may want to entertain in case Egypt all of a sudden does something. Again, everyone's now thinking Chokepoint, right? And by the way, this whole thing that's going on, everyone's like, hey man, we got to be careful. The Strait of Hormuz scaring the crap out of me. What if somebody else later on? We can't be controlled by anybody, right? Look, watch what Saudi all of a sudden came out and say, but by the way, all this time, we've been building something no one knows about. There's an alternative that we have. You know, we don't have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. We have been working on the Saudi Arabia's East-West petroleum pipeline since the late 70s. And we put about 10 or $20 billion into this, and it's sweet. It just goes right through. And we have it available. And it's 5 to 7 million barrels a day instead of, you know, maybe not 20 million, but still we're building this. So now, and suddenly out of nowhere, I think it was a few days ago, we're ready to be in business. We're available. This quickly? Yeah, we've been building it for all this year. Think about this. On how long
Dang, man, they always, you got, I see, it's just 2 sides to this. One side is you gotta hold something in your back pocket for when it is useful. The other side is they always hold some back so you can never get ahead. You feel me?
So this is why it's important as you're going through this, and Trump all of a sudden used the DPA, the Defense Production Act, to restart Santinez unit for oil in California, 50,000 barrels a day. It's not a lot, but it's still enough to kind of help out with some of the gas. Newsom's like, no, you can't come and deal with the state, you know, climate, all this stuff. You can't. Federal government can't come and deal with it. They're trying to lower your gas prices. For you, it's the highest. And he's trying to make a deal, $300 billion with India's Reliance Industries for new oil refinery in Texas, a first in 50 years. And all these other conversations are happening because everyone's realizing, hey, long-term thinking. Guys, yes, time out. What are we doing to protect ourselves and hedge ourselves against a massive crisis that could happen, that somebody wakes up, the China, the US and Iran and all the Russia and Israel and all these guys all of a sudden decide to do something. We have to be ready for it. It's all long-term thinking, and you better believe these conversations are being had right now as we speak. So if you got value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
Nah, most people in this world is not even thinking about half the... It always is just the bots, and then there's the people that understand. Decide who you want to be, because it's a lot going on. Now, this is just a platform we can all use, and you can use your platform to do something too. You should use it to subscribe, like, comment on this video, and let me know how your day's been if you enjoyed this reaction to a valuetainment video. And if you want to see more political topics like this, make sure y'all come back, because we're always going to have the best reaction video. What is that? What is that? Hold on, let me fix this, bro. What are we doing here? Hold on, man. Fit the screen. Anyways, y'all, now that we fixed the camera, like I was saying to you, I actually was done. I just wanted y'all to be able to see me correctly. That's crazy. It could have been a waste of time, or it could have added some value. Maybe we should just hop into the next video, because there's another video on this topic though. Hold on. It's only 9 minutes. That's all I should say. Oh, no, not this one. Not this one. No, that's not that.
Welcome back to numbers.
That's not the right one. It's not the right one. It's not the right one, y'all. It's not the right one, y'all. This one.
Tom Else with the Biz Talk. Welcome back to Numbers Scream. This week, 5 numbers. We've been going with themes. The themes this week is no kidding. This is numbers that jump out and say, no kidding? You're kidding. I can't believe that. That's what they say. First up, homeless. We're going to tell you about the $625,000 room for a homeless person in LA. That's right. Then U.S. government, $236 billion given away. It's not in welfare. It's actually wasted. We'll tell you how, and the government admitted it. Then oil companies, $63 billion windfall thanks to the price flux of the market price of oil during the war. And then foreclosures. Oh, 1 consecutive year of foreclosures going up. Oh, they're clutching pearls. People are getting upset. Is there some truth to it? Yes. Is it overblown? Yes. Lastly, Meta, 16,000 layoffs, 20% of the workforce. I'm going to tell you what's up with all these numbers this week. First up,
LA. We got Biz Doc. And numbers scream, because numbers don't lie, people do. Do y'all know that? Numbers don't lie, people do. I wish y'all would have made the numbers not lie so this president could not be true. Let's see what he has to say about the war.
Homeless, the $625,000 hotel room for homeless. That's right. Once upon a time in 2020, Los Angeles thought it'd be a good idea to just be in the property.
Bro, am I trolling y'all? Did I even put the video back on, bro? I might have trolled y'all. Hold on. I suck. Don't quote me on that. But nah, I mean, bro, how long we... it's like a minute, bro. I'll fuck with y'all on the back end, so I can see what I was watching all the time.
Tom Else with the Biz Talk. Welcome back to Numbers Scream. This week, 5 numbers. We've been going with themes. The themes this week is no kidding. This is numbers that jump out and say, no kidding? You're kidding. I can't believe that. That's what they say. First up, homeless. We're going to tell you about the $625,000 room for a homeless person in LA. That's right. Then U.S. government, $236 billion given away. It's not in welfare. It's actually wasted. We'll tell you how, and the government admitted it. Then oil companies, $63 billion windfall thanks to the price flux of the market price of oil during the war. And then foreclosures. Oh, one consecutive year of foreclosures going up. Oh, they're clutching pearls. People are getting upset. Is there some truth to it? Yes. Is it overblown? Yes. Lastly, Meta, 16,000 layoffs, 20% of the workforce. I'm going to tell you what's up with all these numbers this week. First up, LA homeless, the $625,000 hotel room for homeless. That's right. Once upon a time in
What? It's $625,000 for a homeless? I feel like there's some clickbait. Hold on.
2020, Los Angeles thought it'd be a good idea to just be in the property business rather than the governing and taxing business and taking care of the streets business and running a good police force and fire department. They thought that they would be in the let's build housing for the homeless business. Bad idea. They went out after an $8 million purchase and renovations and things they did. It took them 6 years to complete it. Their own permitting was behind. You can read more about the story. You just sit there saying, no kidding, I can't believe this. Nonetheless, it was $20 million at the end, but when you added up the amount of units, 32 unit, that was $625,000 per room. In other words, if I had given you $20 million and put you outside Indianapolis, Salt Lake City, even outside Las Vegas, outside Phoenix, into middle-class areas, and gave you a budget of $625,000, you could have built 32 homes. If I give you a budget of $300,000, you could have built 64 homes and then given them to wounded warriors or donated it to Habitat for Humanity. That's what you and I would have done on a capital efficient basis. But what did LA do? $20 million, 150% increase from the original, and it's $625,000 for the homeless and no coffee maker and no room service. That's LA, your tax dollar at work.
And see, this would be throwing me off about taxes and all this stuff. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, yo, but is it really doing anything? Like, on a necessities level? I feel we already know it really just takes care of what the big pockets need, if you understand. I don't want to get canceled or have anybody show up. And I just want to confirm, I love my life. My family loves me. Everything, yeah.
Next up, the U.S. government in competition with California saying we can waste far more than you can. $20 million for housing? Ha ha! We will give away $236 billion and we will be at the top of the Let's Waste the Tax Dollar leaderboard. Well, they did it. Their own study in 2023 that now has come out and been validated. This is not sensational. This is not CNN from the left, Fox from the right. This is not that. This is our own government saying, yeah, we did an audit, and actually $236 billion, 74% of it was pure waste on overpayments, which is basically money lost that we never recovered. And then $61 billion was technical errors. Technical errors, $61 billion, your stock goes to zero, your company closes, and you get sued by the shareholders on Wall Street. This is our government actually admitting it. Now you go to Los Angeles and the hospice crisis that's this week. Actually, there's not a hospice crisis. There's plenty of hospices, but there's no elderly people or people in hospice care. It's a bunch of people that use hospices to get federal money to an address running a fake business the same way they did daycare in Minneapolis. So it's the liberal from the cradle to the grave fraud system. That's what it runs. And in this case, your federal government is saying, yeah, we did it. Unbelievable. Hold them accountable every time you vote. Oil companies, $63 billion windfall. That's the headline we're hearing. What's behind it and what does it mean? Well, if you take a look at the price per barrel since January, then you come to the end of February and the war breaks out. Well, the war broke out because Israel and the United States decided to stop Iran with what they're doing, so away we went. So you can see the price of oil goes up to about 98 where it is right now. So they're talking about $200 oil and things like that. I don't think that's going to happen. But $100 oil, what does that mean? That means if you're drilling for oil in Texas, the Permian Basin, Midland, Odessa, or you're in North Dakota and you're drilling in shale, or you're off the coast there in the Gulf of America, right next to Houston and Galveston, and you're drilling there, it doesn't matter. That American oil is unaffected by the war. There's no increased costs. There's no increased labor. There's no increased energy costs. Guess what? But the world market for oil, so when we sell this oil to others, including ourselves, unfortunately, we sell it at $100 a barrel because that's the market price. And by the way, the U.S. is an exporter, which the liberal media conveniently forgets when they all talk, oh, Middle East oil is up, it's going to hit the American consumer. It hits the American consumer when the market price goes up. It doesn't hit the consumer because there's a shortage. When has there been a shortage of oil in America? There hasn't been for decades. And you think also about this, do you know where Europe gets 60% of its natural gas? 60%? From the United States. Estados Unidos shipping natural gas, keeping Europe warm and keeping their natural gas electrical power plants going. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God. Why he just flex America like that? He ain't have to, he just say, yo, we just like this spanking the whole world since we came into place. Even though we've been spanking ourselves as well. Leaky.
We are an energy exporter, but the market price does affect ultimately the pump, the air travel costs, and especially diesel fuel, which is the transportation of all of our goods and services on those 18-wheeler trucks. So there is a net negative for the United States when the world market is up because there's an inflation effect. We hope that the market goes down before that. But the $63 billion windfall, that's additional profits being made because the market price of oil is up, not because there's a shortage in the United States. And that's just the way the market works. Next up, the headlines saying foreclosures are up every month for the last year. They are? Well, they are. But let's see how bad it is. It's bad if you've lost your home. It's bad if your friends, family members, or somebody you know is incurred economic situation and they've actually lost the home. It's bad and it's not a laughing matter, and I don't joke about it. However, I like to point out that I think there's fear porn happening in the headlines in America designed to freak everybody out, make Trump look bad, make this look bad. Forget who's president. Are the headlines accurate? Foreclosures up for every month for 1 year straight? Yes, but let's see how bad it is and let's compare it to history. So here it is from March of 2025 all the way to February of 2026. It's gone up sequentially to 38,840 properties foreclosed in the month of February, according to North American Board of Realtors and other sources that we were able to get. Interesting. How does that compare to 2008 to 2010?
Bruh, I have one of those pins he has on his jacket. I'm not gonna prove it, but I have one. You only can get it by doing something. And you'll never find out what it is.
Remember the housing crisis, the financial crisis?
I'm trolling. It's not like that. I just wanted to troll.
United States? I decided, because I'm a curious guy, to go take a look. And guess what I found out? Look at this. From 2008, 2009, 2010. 2008, the sky is falling. 2.3 million foreclosures in America. 2009, the sky has fallen. 2.8 million foreclosures. And finally, 2010, we've reached the peak. If you add that up, that's where you get the 8 million number. It's just a hair under 8 million that homes foreclosed in America over the 36 months of the financial crisis. You see that? Let's compare that to 24, 25, and 26 estimate. 2025, the chart I just showed you, 367,000 homes foreclosed. If we stay around 38,000, it's going to be about 460,000 for the year. So you can see foreclosures are up. Cause for concern? Yes. Cause for panic? No. Interest rates have actually come down a little bit right now. Now, if you've lost your home and there's a foreclosure, my heart is with you and it's nothing to laugh about. But for the rest of us, if we're wondering, my gosh, is my 401k, is my retirement safe, is the world coming to an end and problems? The answer is no, it's not, at least not yet. That doesn't mean that we're not able to screw it up next quarter and have it come down. I'll have it here if we do, but right now it doesn't look like it. But this also means that there's homes out here that have foreclosed that are being auctioned by banks that maybe are available to other people who are ready and trying to buy a home. Oh, wait, the greedy private equity firms are buying up all those houses. That has been happening. However, there's legislation coming. And do we have a calci on that? We do. Take a look at this calci, because we don't want those foreclosed homes just bought up by a private equity firm. We want them to be available to buyers like you and me to go out and maybe bid and get a hold of one of those homes as part of the inventory that we hope we get more inventory to help prices come down. Well, guess what? Will legislation restricting institutional private equity firms, single-family home investment become law this year? It's still at a 64% chance. It was 85 when it first hit the floor. Our House of Representatives, our Congress have to push it through. If you want to get a Kalshi account, go to the link below, get a Kalshi account, and put away part of the prediction market, and you can be part of it. And America. Bulk buyers coming from institutions interfering with our ability to buy that home or to bid on that foreclosure.
That's a good ad.
Next,
good integration.
20% of Facebook being laid off. Meta, the corporate company that owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and what else? I forget, but it's a lot of stuff. Meta.
Almost couldn't skip it.
16,000 people losing their jobs, 20% being laid off. I'm not cheering for him. When Mark Zuckerberg was asked for a quote on it, he said, no, we did nothing to cause young girls to be addicted to Facebook and to be cutting themselves and be frustrated. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, that wasn't the question. The question was, why'd you lay off all those people? Oh, sorry, it was the metaverse. No, it was AI. They went out and told the market that basically AI was up. When the market was looking at it, was saying it, I read 2 stories this week, very specific, that said they believe about 4,000 of these jobs was a metaverse. You remember when they said, we're changing our name to Meta and we're building the metaverse? Put on your VR goggles and jump into your timeline and experience life differently with all your friends and enter the metaverse. And then Wall Street was asking, how deep is that hole called metaverse that you keep pouring billions of dollars into? It was pretty damn deep. Until they kind of stopped. And now they're coming back and they're talking about AI. AI may have impacted this, and maybe there was some AI impacting the coding. Facebook and all these things, a lot of code involved there, a lot of coders, you can see it, but you have to remember, they're also saying AI is the reason when they really are right-sizing the company for other reasons. You can't use AI as an excuse, as many companies are, when you're making layoffs due to loss of market share or other challenges in the business. Oh, it's that damn AI again. That creates fear porn of a whole other level. And so this is the right sizing of Facebook and Meta and all of the businesses that are inside, including cleaning up the sin of hiring the world to work on the metaverse and now finally getting back around to cleaning that up. And so that's the story. The layoffs were aligned with business change, but suddenly it's fashionable to blame AI, as many people are doing, when you're merely right-sizing, such as what Meta did, now making amends for the metaverse with a lot of people, including me, believing there's up to 4,000 jobs that were in here that were related to the metaverse that should have been dumped long ago when they found out it didn't work. Now, do layoffs work? Does the market like layoffs? The stock market loves layoffs. I don't.
What do y'all think? Y'all think Meta laying off because they really have to lay off, or they're laying off because they really some shit? Like they really messed up? We thinking that everybody's gonna hop into this virtual reality universe and just jump into. I remember hearing about that when it first, like, y'all not about to just put on goggles and not live life no more. Who believes that? Y'all about to put a chip in y'all head and just sit on your bed all day? Like, what is y'all, Wally? The hell? Nah, it couldn't be me. I like living life. I like feeling and experiencing and having the sensations, the senses God gave me. You feel me?
means real people like you and me are losing jobs, but the stock market enjoys layoffs, especially when they're right-sizing the costs for a company. Now, right-sizing the costs and expenses for the company comes at a human cost as people have to go find new jobs. But take a look. Since 2022, Meta is up 84% in less than 5 years. That's pretty reasonable growth. That's not NVIDIA, but that's very reasonable growth. And if you go look in here, you'll find spikes right about the time that they announced they were laying people off to reduce costs, improve profits as they right-size the business moving forward. And that is the tale of Meta. If you like the way we break down these numbers, we'd love to help you with your numbers. Go to the link below, Bet David Consulting. It's where we work with entrepreneurs and leaders such as you to help your business.
All right, John, that was good. I like that. I like that. This is what we need more of in our community. We need to just get more knowledge. We need to have more ability and more access to just information like that, which is why I'm here, to share this with you all, to enlighten you on the topics outside of the nonsense. But we're gonna enjoy our nonsense, of course, because it's all about enjoying life at the end of the day. But a part of enjoying life is understanding the world around you. So if you understand what's going on, you can be in sync and not just doing whatever. You can actually flow. And that's what we want to do. We want to flow here on this channel because it's a smooth place. It's JSmoove Justice. I hope y'all enjoy. I am actually going to sign off for this live. We will be back. I don't know. We're going to be back at some time, at some point. Don't quote me on that. But do. But don't. But do. But don't. But do. But don't.